Hi, welcome back to my video. This is an amendment to my March 21st video. Since then that I have added some functionality and that allowed us to perform an analysis faster and better. We'll show those features that later in the video, but for now, let's just review what we did over here. Okay, on the institution tab, with the basic tab, we basically selected the section 1 and the sector 1 and the sector 4, just like what we did with our previous video. Okay, sector 1 is a public 4-year institution, and sector 4 is the public 2-year institutions. And we also select all the states. Okay. And on the majors tab, like last time, we select the programs that been offered by the distance educations and with various degree levels. We basically pick all the degree levels. Okay. And on the users major, we did exactly like what we did with our previous videos. Okay, we defined all the variables: distance education, associate degree, distance education, bachelor's degree. Okay, and we also select 3-zip digital code, 01 dot, and compose 01. And if you're not familiar with that, please review my previous video. Okay. And then on the query tab, we basically retrieve the data we requested. And as you can see, it's from all the states, and also you have a sector 1 and also sector 4. Okay, so if I scroll down, you see there's a different state, and there is a sector 4. Okay. And on the plot options, okay, and that's where I did my enhancement. Okay, for the basic tab over here, now we add all majors tab buttons. So basically what this button do is, if you press the button, they will generate all the variables. Okay, like distance education, associate degree, and if you look at that, they'll automatically generate all this. Okay, and in our case, distance education, associate degree. And you can see we also have the S, distance education associate degree, and also the X, distance education associate degree. Okay, and that's another enhancement I did. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit. And those are basically controlled by the value per S and the X checkbox. Okay, and the idea is this. Okay, for every variables, we can draw the lines based on the S you select. Okay, remember the S is our serial. Okay, S is our serial. So in this case, we select the year, but what if we select, say, the sectors? Okay, so in this case, we talk about the serial represent the line on the chart. So when I select the serial with 1 to 4, then what that means, I will have a 2 line. That means for the variable, for every variable, I will have 2 lines. 1 line corresponding to sector 1, and the 1 line corresponding to the sector 4. Okay, and over here, what we represent over here is a line. Okay, and each circle over here, a small circle over here, represent a x values. So this is basically your chart. We didn't draw the x-axis, but basically those are the 3 lines, and then those are the x-axis. Okay, x value for different x values. So what is the s value, s variable, and the x variables? Okay. What the s variable is, okay, for example, in this case, this is s variable for distant education total. Okay, this is the variable distant education total, and there's a s distant education total. What that value represent, what that variable represent, is the sum of all the value on those circles. Okay, so they add all those up. So they basically, for every s, you have 1 values. So in this case, you can have a 3 value, and in the case of sector 1 to 4, you basically have 2 values, 1 for each line. Okay, and the normal variable v, distant education total, they are basically represent every single circle. So basically, you can think about this is like a matrix. They actually represent all those circles. Okay, or you can think about they have an x, and you can have a like a matrix. You have a A1, A2. So this is the element 1, 1. That's 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, etc. Okay. And we also have x variables. Okay, what the x variable is, they represent the sum of the same x. Okay, so in this case, those 3 circles will add up to the x variables. Or you can say x variable is a columns. They represent the sum of a column. So they basically have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 columns in this case. Okay. And we'll see application of this variable later. Okay, basically that's the concept. So basically, every time you define a variable now, you can type in the name and you can select you're going to do the s, or you're going to do the x. Or is that variable going to be x or s? Okay. And of course, when you click the add all measures, they will automatically generate those. Okay, so now it makes things much easier. Okay, you can automatically generate those. Okay, so now let's go back to the plot. Okay, and I have been playing with this data a little bit, and so I think that there's a couple of things I would like to show you. Okay, the first thing is the doctors levels. If you look at doctors and you plot that, and you notice that, okay, what do we have over here is we only have a sector 1. Okay, let me see, it'll be on the plot options. I generate those when I select just 1 line with the 1. Okay, so that's only sector 1. And that's why in the plot, this is basically generated from the sector 1. And if you look at that, you can see this is 13, and there's only 1 program. Okay, so this is for the whole United States. And for the SIP 13, there's only 1 doctor program that is online. Okay. And also, if you look at this, for the whole United States, there's only 1 doctor program that is zip code 44, for inside the zip code 44. And there's 3 doctor programs, doctor program that is distance education, and 4 under the zip code 51, the medical. So I think this is a pretty interesting. There are really not much online doctor programs. And I think in a later video we'll explore that. We'll find out what those programs are. I think that Oh, it's a make an interesting observation. Let's see what those three programs, those basically 5 programs are. Okay, and then the other thing I noticed is when I run. Okay, I was very interested on. We sort of know that for the educations, they are more concentrated on the bachelor degree. Above the bachelor degree or master degrees. So I sort of run a little chart by selecting the postmaster and the post-bachelor degree, postmaster, and also master. Okay, so I plot those three. And I look at the chart and it made me think, well, the master one and the post-bachelor one are very similar, except the size. It looks very similar. While the postmaster is a little bit smaller, okay, it's much smaller, and doesn't seem to have some of the SIPs. And the one thing come to my mind is, what if we can scale those, and we can put those two, the master and the post-bachelor degree. If we can scale that to the same scale, we can put them in the same scale, what it would look like. And in order to do that, what you will try to do is you add all those numbers up. You add all the numbers up along the line, along the SIP, and then you divide by that. So basically you normalize everything to the total. Okay, so basically you look at how many SIP or the percentage of the programs fall under the 13, and what the percentage of the programs fall under, say, the 52 and the 51. Okay, and in order to do that, you need a variable that sum over the values, just like what we show in our chart. You like to have a variable that sum over all those circles, and that's our S variables. Okay, and that's why in my plot options, in my basic tab, I defined those. I defined a master, distance education master distributions. Okay, and if you look at what I did over here, that is the variable of the distance education master divided by the S variable distance education master, and then we times hundreds. Okay, so that's basically performs the desired calculation we want. And I also did that for the post-bachelor degree distributions. Okay, so that's the same thing. Okay, and after I do that, I recalculate the point, and we can plot those two. So if we plot those two, it's a post-bachelor distribution, and that's a master degree distributions. If we plot those two, and you notice us what we suspected, they are very close to each others. Okay, they are very close to each others. Okay, not only in terms of the SIP, okay, but also the percentage for each SIP. Okay, for example, like the 13 education, they are about 30%, and on the medical, they are about 14%, and for the business, they are about 12% or 13%. So this is a very interesting thing. Okay, and I think that I hope that this provide that the researcher some motivation to investigate it deeper. Okay, and I think this is what I have today. Okay, for these videos, and like I mentioned, that I planned to dive into this data a little bit deeper to find out to see if I can find any interesting discoveries. So thanks for watching. Bye.